back in maybe March, I had decided, regardless of COVID-19, like that I wanted to do a series in April where I was going to paint one painting per day. And right now my subject of paintings is examining the impressions of rain and examining the sort of sensation that rain can give us. A lot of people think rain is doom and gloom. I personally feel that rain feels a little bit brighter. I wanted to show, I guess, maybe the more positive side of rain. And through this process, and especially being here under COVID-19, all of the chaos, my work has taken on sort of another meaning. Some of the rain itself is we're so busy and we're going left and right and up and down and off all these three things. And sometimes rain makes us have to stop and slow down and for the rain to fall or go out and walk in the rain. And so for me, rain, this examining rain in painting is about more kind of the contemplation and sort of trying to create a sensation of peace, of sort of tranquility, even in the midst of our increasingly chaotic world and increasingly wild pandemic lives these days. So of the three right here, the one on the left, with the pink, the green, the lighter greens, that was actually painted from the porch and front yard and sort of highlighted the colors of the yard. The one in the far right, the blue, that one, dusk to dawn in rain. Part of what I'm doing in my rain series is just examining different types of day. So I'll examine either landscapes, seascapes, but also just pure sky. And that particular blue one, I was really, really sort of fascinated with the afterglow of the sunset, where it's not quite sunset, but the sky is fading into this blue, but it's not that dark midnight blue just yet. There's like this really cool glow. So I was working on capturing that. And the painting in the middle, Opposing Fields, I just made for fun. This was a color study where I was creating a series of different paintings using opposite colors on each of the different ends. So in this one, I was using purple and yellow as the dominant colors. So with my process, I use a lot of dots on the canvas. So I use a pointillism technique of really, really thick dots. And then I use stand oil to distort the dots. And that's what creates this rain texture. I actually drag my paintbrush from the top of the canvas down to the bottom. So as a result of that, colors that are on the bottom part of the canvas will generally blend somehow with the colors that are dragged from the top. So that can create some dilemmas sometimes when you have colors that you think could get muddy or might not interact well, and it can sometimes obscure parts of the canvas. So this Opposing Fields was essentially a color study, just abstract from yellow to pink to purple. But then if you kind of step back from it a little bit, you might be able to read it as kind of a sunset with like a reflective element kind of in the distance. So yeah, that's my rain stuff right now. For me, COVID-19 has also changed in that I'm a generally positive person. I like to see the good things, and this is just a really, really hard time for people. So I'm lucky that my studio is actually in my home. So being locked down at my home, I am able to just take my coffee and walk into the other room. But I started doing something where I was sending an email once a day to people that subscribe, just saying like, here's a painting I did today, hope it brightens your day. So I got actually a lot of response back from that saying like, thank you so much for the paintings, I love your color. It's just was the highlight of the day. And another thing that I've done differently is I think we've all had canceled shows and canceled exhibits, was I actually put my art out in the yard, and I called it a pop-up curbside art show. And I did this twice, once with just general paintings, and I hung them on my white picket fence, like out at the curb so people could drive by or walk by and on their way to walk around the town. And then I did another one at the very end of April. And in that case, I put out all 30 little paintings that I did during my daily painting challenge of April. And we got some feedback and it was fun. I got a lot of bugs stuck in the paintings though, because the very, very wettest ones, day 28, day 29, day 30, they were all still dripping wet. And the day we put it out for this curbside art show, one of the people that stopped by, they're like, are the insects in the painting supposed to be part of that? So I had to very carefully extract the bugs from the painting and sort of smooth the surface again. So that's
like
my...
It's been very busy. Wow, good for you.
So, Rachel, I had a comment about the middle one. When I first saw that, what I saw, and I saw the title, I was visualizing essentially a field of marsh grass that you're looking at, a sunset reflecting in a pond. So it's dark at the bottom, you know, and it's filtering through these high marsh grasses. So I would have, in fact, rather than sunset, I would have called it like a sunrise, where the sun can just be suddenly so brilliant when it's coming up, and then reflecting in the water, and you looking at it through the verticality of all these marsh grasses. That's cool. Yep.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Anyone else, any questions for Rachel? Okay,
Yeah.
we're cool.
One other question. You said you used something to dissolve when you first put the paint on. Then you said you used something that you dissolved it with. What was that?
Yeah, so I don't have it immediate right here, but all the canvas starts as a bunch of really thick dots.
Yeah.
And then I used stand oil. It's a thickened linseed-based oil. It's very viscous. It's a lot like honey or syrup. And what that does, I will drizzle it over the canvas and then use my brush, dip that in, so that way it's very sticky. And I will drag, actually I have one of these. There we go. So I'll actually put the paint at the top and I'll use my brush, apply pressure, drag, and kind of move the brush. And the painting will continue to move and drip for up to 3 or 4 days. So I go back in every few hours and I'll rework the surface, help some drips along, take some drips out, kind of edit the drips, and then it continues dripping overnight. So often it's been a big process of letting it go and then kind of responding to it, letting it go and doing gravity and coming back and responding, which I think is also metaphorical for this whole life situation and pandemic, letting go and then responding.
Thank you.
Thank you.